listening to Room 303 Radio.
Live from Tokyo.
You could float in. They say steam is the worst type of burn. Under your head was a pillow, and under the pillow was the tooth. Under the tooth was a sheet. Could change everything. Under the leather mattress. Under the pillow was the bed. Under the mattress, reading leather makes you fall.
And while you slept, your brain got rinsed, cerebrospinal fluid. Took out your trash in a spirited slam dunk, swooshing clear and smoothing. It's called your nervous system. Think of it as an interior cushion. Nighttime is the right time to let your body do its thing. It's gonna clean that shit up. It has a chance, it takes a chance on you. This is what dreaming's supposed to do. It has a chance to restore you. This is what dreaming's supposed to do. It's supposed to help you.
Oh my God, I did some DJ stuff right now. I think it's working. Is it working? Headquarters? It is. Okay, amazing. Song is over. We're on. Welcome to the very first dispatch from the Fickle Human Radio. My name is Leia, and the Fickle Human Radio is a series of audio dispatches by and for people who refuse to stay in one category. So every dispatch comes in the form of a conversation with someone who I think moves between worlds, and we follow into their language and their world and move beyond the realm of like categories and labels. And these aren't really interviews. I think of them as conversations and ways of thinking together. So if you're listening, let your attention drift. Notice when the conversation catches you. Notice when it releases you, and trust that your mind moves towards what it needs. Without further ado, today I'm sitting with Minami from Featherheart Books.
Yay, hi.
Hi. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Minami, and I'm the owner of Featherheart Books.
I love that. For a little context, someone told me about you last year saying a very badass person is running a cool English bookstore online, and they weren't lying. You're awesome. We just had like a 45-minute like pre-chat chat. Like we pre-gamed the chat, and I was already really excited getting to know you. But before we get into the heart of our conversation, I asked you to choose a song.
Yeah.
So tell me about the song you chose and why you chose said song.
Oh God, now I don't remember the artist's name, but it's "Break My Stride" by
Matthew
Stride.
Matthew Wilder.
Wilder. "Break My Stride" by Matthew Wilder. Yeah, I chose that song because I thought it was a good reflection of my desire to pursue this bookstore initiative, despite all the odds sort of against me and all the people who have told me that it's a bad idea. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it's also Rachel Berry from Glee's theme song.
Okay. Are you a Glee gal?
No, I'm not. I mean, I used to watch it a long time ago when it first aired, and I recently watched the first season again just because I had nothing else to watch. And Rachel Berry was on the treadmill listening to "Break My Stride" every single morning, apparently.
Oh, gorgeous.
For her goal to be on Broadway. So
Okay.
I think subconsciously I absorbed that that idea and interpretation of the song to my life and to where I am right now with the bookstore.
I love it. Let's get into it then. Okay, so this is "Break My Stride," not by Matthew Strider, but Matthew Wilder. Okay, we're gonna do some DJ shit again. I'm gonna try. Wait, is it working? Hell yeah.
Last night I had the strangest dream. I sailed away to China in a little rowboat to find you, and you said you had to get your laundry clean. Didn't want no one to hold you. What does that mean? And you said, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. You're on a roll and now you pray you last. The road behind was rocky, but now you're feeling cocky. You look at me and you see your past. Is that the reason why you're running so fast? And she said, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Never let another girl like you work me over. Never let another girl like you drag me under. If I meet another girl like you, I will tell her. Never want another girl like you. Have to say, oh, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, no, I got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. I'm running and I won't touch ground. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Nobody gonna slow me down. Oh no, no, I got to keep
Okay. So we're back. I love the song. I need to add it to my... I've been feeling break my stride energy this year.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people have, because the world is absolutely bonkers right now. But I feel like so many people have dreams and visions and things that they want for themselves that perhaps they feel is further out of reach because the world is the world. And I've been feeling that so much lately. Like, what's the point of planning for a year, 2 years, 3 years when I don't even know if the world's going to be around?
Yeah.
But maybe there is something like radical and like telling yourself, you know what? No, I'm not going to let anyone break my stride. I'm just going to do my thing. And like you were saying while we were playing the song, that when you had the idea of starting Featherheart, people were telling you it was a bad idea.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because like I was in a pretty stable situation financially and in my career. And, you know, I had the quote unquote dream where I had my own apartment and I had a dog and I had a stable job that I sort of enjoyed at the time. And taking myself out of that situation and just putting brakes on that was kind of an irrational decision. And with irrationality, people tend to not approve of that and think that is something smart to do. But I am a Sagittarius and I am stubborn. So I just ignored all of that and decided to follow my gut and pursue what happens to be my dream.
So I want to get into that a little bit more. Like, what were you doing pre-Featherheart, as much as you want to get into it? And what sort of led to you deciding? I think it's two parts. What were you doing prior to it? And why books and why Featherheart? Like, because I know a little bit of what was going on, but if you could like put that two together.
Yeah. So I was in a completely different career before this. I was working for a UN agency, and the kind of work I was doing was very much focused on project management and program support, and specifically for emergency responses. I was sitting in Geneva, so I was in a very safe, privileged spot to be in, but I was supporting staff members and organizations that were working in incredibly difficult contexts. Everything from Haiti to Syria to Myanmar to, I don't know, pretty much all of the emergencies in the past few years I've worked on, like Democratic Republic of Congo.
Oh my God.
And the Turkey earthquakes, everything related to emergencies I was sort of involved in for that specific organization. And I worked there only for 3 very long years. And I just needed a break from that career. We can get more to it later if you want with follow-up questions, but I just needed a break. So I took a temporary break and I came back to Japan. And once I hit the soil, I just knew that I didn't want to go back to Switzerland, where I was working at before. And I realized after staying for a bit longer in Japan that my dream of opening a bookshop was something that was feasible and that was something people were keen on making happen. So I just decided to take the plunge and start the bookshop. Yeah.
Have you said you're a Sagittarius, and Sagittariuses are stubborn, but have you always had this part of you where if you have an idea or something you really want to do, you sort of go for it? Or is this sort of the first time you in your life where you felt like you've really committed to something that other people might have thought was a bad idea? It could be small.
Yeah, you know, I think this is the first big thing that I decided to ignore all the external noise and focus on what I truly wanted. I've always been a very quiet Japanese girl, like quiet little Japanese girl. You know, I sit in the corner and I don't say anything unless someone speaks to me. And I'm a very complacent person, and I just want everybody to be happy around me. So I do give in out of love. And I know that the people around me, especially my family and friends, they tell me things and give me advice out of love. But then some things I know in my gut that it's something that I have to do. And for some reason, I saw the vision of this bookshop. Like, I could see the future of this bookshop, having my own brick and mortar and what it could provide for the community. I could see it so clearly, and I knew that there was already a path lined for me that I just decided to take the plunge and really go for it. Yeah. So I think it is the first big thing that I decided to really pursue based out of my own interests and feelings. Yeah.
The being able to see the path thing.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued by that. Like, in what sense? You felt like you could sense, and I'm not taking it in like a spiritual sense, but more
honestly,
like, was it like that? Was it
It
like,
was almost spiritual. I'm not a religious person. I do believe in ghosts, but I'm not that spiritual of a person. But I think it was Instagram or some random post that was like, there's a part of you that knows that there's a completely different path lined up for you. And all you have to do is just take that first step, or it's something along the lines of that. And that made me realize, like, oh my gosh, I know I can see the vision, and I've never had a vision before. I'm not a big thinker. I'm not a big idea person. And once I saw that vision, I just had to fill in the gaps of the small steps and follow the path. And I knew that there was a different life for me in Japan, and that it had something to do with a bookshop. And I didn't know what, but I just needed to take that first step and pursue it.
that is so? The feather heart part, the name, and then
Yeah.
the concept of the bookshop. I would love to hear from your words, like, why feather heart? Because I think there is something whimsical to it. It does feel a bit you, like, I don't know you well, but just from the conversations we've had, I feel like there's like a levity to you, but there's also something very grounded. Like, you're what's the adjective for levity? I don't know. There's a part of you that's airy.
Right.
But then it's very anchored. There's like a core to it, is how I sense your energy. But I'm curious, like, why you decided to go for that name, and also what the core concept of, because I think it's not just a bookshop. I think there's more to it.
Let me start with the latter question. So it is one of the few English language independent bookstores in Japan.
Yes.
As of today, this year, I don't think there are a lot of independent bookstores that focus on English books. But that's just the headline, right? And then underneath that, I wanted to bring the idea of an independent bookstore from overseas. There are versions of it in Japan, but then the deeply rooted community aspect of independent bookstores that you see overseas is a bit more grounded and grassrootsy, and I wanted to try to bring that to Japan. So it's not just about the books. Of course, the books are so important because I do want to bring a diverse range of books to Japan, but I also wanted to create a space for people to connect with other like-minded individuals and centered on the love of books, and sort of create a space where people are free to be who they want to be. I know we talked about a little bit about like increasing xenophobia and anti-immigration rhetoric getting worse in Japan, and I think that spaces that celebrate quote-unquote foreignness and difference is, I mean, there are spaces there, but it's still, just because there are spaces already, it doesn't mean that we need more of them. And I think we do need more of them, and I hope that this bookshop does that. But yeah, and then in terms of the name, Featherheart Books, you know, some days I hate it, some days I love it. So, honestly, now that we're thinking of having our own physical store. I feel like changing the name, but I don't know. Featherheart Books, it's really open to interpretation. I intentionally wanted to have a name that was whimsical and welcoming to people, and that felt a bit old-timey. But the Featherheart portion of the name comes from the this ancient idea of the weighing of souls. All of the religions have different interpretations and versions of this. In Christianity, it would be Judgment Day. But then in ancient Egyptian mythology, there's the idea of, in the Book of the Dead, where when someone passes away, the god of death weighs your soul, specifically your heart, against a feather to determine what happens to your soul, essentially. And so I liked that idea. Someone on Threads told me like, oh, you're super judgmental because you think that you can judge people based off of their books, but it's not. That's not my intention. It's supposed to mean like, for me, I felt that Featherheart spoke to the importance of books in people's lives and how it can better your life and the quality of your life, and expanding your worldview and reinforcing important values. And that's sort of my intention behind the name Featherheart Books. But I like that most people don't know where it comes from, and that they can interpret it their own way. Yeah.
I love that. I'm just hearing you explain, the intention behind it. Yes, it's a bookstore, but at the crux of it is also this desire to give to like a community or cultivate community in some way. And earlier, before we started the show, we were talking about some of the really heartbreaking shifts that are happening, not just in Japan, but all over the world. And this like sense of despair and loneliness maybe that people feel. Has that sort of like sensitivity always been part of you, or you were working in a more like an international organization serving communities in emergency, and now you're running a bookstore, but there's still a little bit of that seed of like care and giving and community? Like, has that always been part of you? Was there something that maybe led to you viewing the world and the things that you do in that way?
Yeah, it's both nature and nurture, right? So I was born incredibly sensitive. Like, if you touch my skin, it'll turn red.
Okay, so literally
Physically,
sensitive.
literally, but also mentally and
Okay.
emotionally. I would cry at everything. And the first few years of my life, up until I think second grade, I wouldn't really talk because I was just absorbing the world around me. But also in terms of nurture, my parents always volunteered. It's part of my dad. It used to be part of my dad's job, but it was also part of my mom's values in making sure that you're always contributing to the community in a positive way, and regardless of how big or how small the actions are. I hate the word humble origins, but then like my dad comes from rice farmers in Fukushima. And my mom's mom was trafficked as a child from China to Malaysia. And she had a very difficult time being an adopted daughter of a family who had a completely different background from her, and then trying to build a life for my mom and her siblings in Malaysia under the Japanese occupation. And so through these quote-unquote humble origins, like, they really instilled in my sister and I and my cousins that it's really important to give to the community in whatever way you can. And my parents instilled it into my sister and I as we grew up traveling the world and living in different countries. They're like, look, you're in a super privileged position, and you have to remember that and bring that privilege with you wherever you go. And understand that it can be used as a tool to support other people and not as a means to put people down. And so I brought that with me throughout my early career and also with this bookshop, because bookstores aren't just about books. If they're just about books, then they're not of value. I think that, I mean, books themselves are intrinsically valuable, but I think that it's a community that use the space and buy the books and spend time around books is what makes bookshops valuable. And harnessing that power of community, I think, is very important. And that's why it's so community focused and community driven. And we try to do, well, hopefully we plan to do a lot more. Our first pop-up in Yoyogi was dedicated to the International Day of Solidarity with Palestinian people. And we want to do more of that sort of thing, where we can start to donate more proceeds to causes that we care about. But yeah, that's the goal. And yeah, hopefully we can live up to that expectation soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's so much in what you said that I want to dig into,
Okay.
but let me think. So one part that I was I didn't know is that you're also mixed,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess this maybe I'm going to find a way to connect it to I'm going to try to make
Okay.
one big question,
Okay.
okay? Because I have a tiny question here. I'm trying to like loop it into one big question, but so you're mixed. You've lived in so many places, from what I understand, and so with that, you know, I also grew up. I moved around a lot. I'm also mixed Japanese, and I feel like naturally, when you are brought up multiculturally, you develop an innate muscle to notice when a community isn't welcoming, because I felt like I had to pick up on whether a community was willing to do the work of welcoming people that are different. And I needed to suss out, like, if I'm in a new school, like, which friend group is most willing to open its arms up to someone that's different. And I think that sort of muscle develops as you get older, and it starts to extend not just in terms of personal relationships, but wider on like a social and societal scale. Not always, but a lot of times I think it happens that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's what's so interesting about Featherheart is that, yes, it's a bookstore, but it's like specifically focusing on Mayosho, English books. And you're using that as I can't think of the English word, but kikkake.
What
Like,
is that?
Kikkake is like the hook to
okay.
draw certain people
Right.
in,
Yeah.
right? And to
Okay.
build a community.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, like you were saying earlier, you noticed there was a need, not yes, for an English bookstore, but for a community that caters to certain people, maybe people that speak English as their first language or are foreigners in Japan. Like, I'm curious what your thoughts around that community is, like what that community needs in your eyes, and how Featherheart fits into, like, how's Featherheart hopefully responding to that need?
Yeah. I mean, I just came back to Japan, so I don't want to say that I can speak on behalf of that community.
Last year, right?
Yeah, last year.
You
but
came back at a crazy time.
But I started with my own experiences growing up in Japan as a mixed child. And as a book lover, I just never found a community that I could feel at home in Japan. And it was only after my first pop-up where I realized that, first of all, people are deprived of English language books. Like a wide range of good English language books. Like, people would buy stacks of books, and specifically in that first pop-up because they just needed them. And also just seeing the small conversations that people would have surrounded by books, just like looking at the books and then that sparking a topic or an interest, and then someone talking about it with their friends, and then a random person that they don't know like comes up to them and be like, oh, I'm interested in that too. And then they would start a conversation and they would stay there for an hour even though it's a pop-up, like seeing those moments made me realize that people wanted to see more of us so that we could attract like-minded people so that they could have those conversations. And also the feedback that we got made me realize that, yeah, they really enjoyed having spaces like that where they can just chill and feel comfortable talking in mixed English, you know, with English and Japanese mixed together, and them feeling welcomed and seen by other people who are accepting of their slight quirks or their slightly bad Japanese, or, you know. So just seeing those tiny little experiences of our readers made me realize that the community would like to see more of our bookstore and what we stand for. But yeah, I'm still, you know, there's always a part of me that's still worried that this has all just been a dream and that nobody will come and buy our books or even want our bookstore, because it's I'm also having to deal with the expectations of people who aren't as welcoming and as open to quote unquote foreigners or foreign books, and how I can adapt our marketing or identity to ensure that that our message of welcoming everybody is well known to the locals and not just people who've lived here for a couple of years. Sorry, that's a roundabout answer to the question, but yeah, there are lots of layers to community, and
There's so many layers.
Yeah, because we don't just attract expats, right? We attract Japanese people who are interested in English and who are open to learning about different cultures, and we also have like older people who are Japanese who don't speak any English but want to buy an English book just because they view it as like this, not a trophy, but like a special gift that they won't be able to read but will be able to have as like I don't know, something you put up on your wall or something.
How do
like
they
that.
choose? Do you help them choose the books?
Yeah.
What sort of
Yeah.
things have you picked out for people?
Well, in Yoyogi Koen, there's this person who owns a dog snack business, and he buys only dog specific books. So there are people who are very specific about what they want.
I love that.
And then there are also older people who just come in and look at what interests them the most. Like back in Kyoto, when we had our pop-up, there was this old man who was, I think, living in the neighborhood, and he walked past our pop-up a few times, like up and down the street outside, and he finally came in and he was slowly looking around the entire shop, and then he went to the children's book section and he picked out a board book, and I think it was 1,350 yen or something, and he was like, I only have 1,000 yen. Can I buy this? And I was like, oh, it's in English. Is it okay? And he's like, yeah, I don't read English, but I thought it'd be nice to support you and to have an English book. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just sell it to you for 1,000 yen. I lost a lot of money that day, but just like having that kind of support from people who didn't hear about us and who are part of the Kyoto community, like the local community who come out and support us, is really important too. So yeah, what was the question?
You answered like 5 questions.
Okay. Sorry.
I absolutely adore just that visual. I'm imagining the scene, and in my head there is an old man that looks like he's straight out of a Studio Ghibli film.
Yeah.
Like I'm really leaning into
Yeah.
the description that you gave. But I mean, what you're sharing, I think I had a question that I drafted out that was around, you know, what does it mean to run a community space in a language that isn't native to the land, right? So I also do community events that are primarily in English, and there is that, it's not a dilemma per se, but I do often have conversations with my co-organizers of like, what does it mean for us to do events in English that are catering to English speaking people in Japan? And it's this, what you were saying of like, we are open to everyone, but then the language element for some people feels like a barrier of entry, but it's really just the language part, because the intention is that we want it to be for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, so it's this like, how do you hold all of the various needs for community and then the limitations of human language? You know, maybe there'll be a day where we'll have like little implants in our ear, and when someone speaks a language, it's automatically translated.
Yeah.
Maybe that day is around the corner, and that'll make our lives a lot easier. But till then, there's that pragmatic limitation of language, but also language can be used to shape community. And I don't really, it's not really a question, but that was something that was going through my head. That's something I've been thinking about a lot this year. Yeah, it's tricky, but it's necessary.
Yeah, because a lot of people who don't speak English in Japan would be put off seeing
Right?
in English language, like all the signs
Yeah,
are in English.
英語だけなんか、
怖いとか。
入れないってね。
入れない。
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was intentional for me to start with English because those are the people who need the English books the most. So that's our primary audience. But
Yes.
eventually, I hope to make everything at least bilingual so that we can start to attract more people whose second language, first language isn't English. And I do have ideas of how to integrate them into our community. But I need a lot of time and space to do that. But we're gonna get there. Like, first thing I did was, make sure that our website has English and Japanese. Like, little things like that help. But then I also want to host like only English day in the bookstore, and then advertise it as if you want to practice your English, then come along in Japanese, and then people can come and practice their English, and do little things like that. To serve not just the English language community, but also the local community here. Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, like, so what's interesting about Featherheart is that despite it being online, you were saying earlier that you've had no breaks because you've been doing events, like physical in-person events nonstop, more or less since you started.
Yep.
The bookshop, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you're running the online shop, but you're hosting events, and you're collaborating with different organizations and local communities, and at the same time you're also searching for your permanent space, right? Like that balance of the online and offline is so fascinating for me. Being a media gal. I'm always thinking about, to begin with, I find the phrase offline so funny because we all began offline, but it's like, it's this new frame of understanding the human experience because the online exists. And even the term like IRL or in person, like this idea of being in flesh with each other is now named and labeled and categorized. I'm going on such a tangent right now, but like that was something that stuck out when I first started learning about Featherheart books was the books are being sold online, and there's a lot of online presence there. But then the real like community building and the heart of it, I think, happens offline. But so many people find Featherheart online, and it's just this really cool dynamic. I feel like that only exists because of this era, right, that we're in.
Yeah.
But I know you want to do a bookstore soon.
I mean, yeah, it sounds so strategic the way you put it, but then,
I thought there was a big grant. I was like, wow, Minami, damn, don't
because how are you gonna reach people nowadays?
Yeah.
I can't be going out on the streets handing out flyers. Nobody will come to
Yeah.
our events. Everyone's online, like chronically. So the only way to reach people at first is through having a strong social media presence. And not that I'm saying that my marketing's the best, but then that's how we started.
And it's working.
Yeah, it sort of is. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I rely a lot on like ads, paid ads.
No, why
At
you
least what we can
gotta.
afford, and like going on threads and engaging with people.
Yes, you're on
online
Threads.
first.
I downloaded Threads for the first time today because I realized you were on Threads.
No way.
I'm like, Threads is crazy.
Yeah.
Threads is intense.
It doesn't work the way you think it works.
Also, Threads is really depressing.
It is.
Everyone is
No.
doomsday prepping right now. My algorithm, like I
no.
texted my boyfriend after an hour on Threads being like, I think we need to start doomsday prepping because everyone on Threads is freaking out. And I didn't know we were supposed to be freaking out.
No, you need to like more of the palette cleansers,
Okay.
like the threads of dogs and cats doing weird
Yeah,
things.
everything
no,
on
you
my
have to
Threads
fix
is
it.
really intense, very heavy.
Oh no.
Yeah. I did buy 10,000 yen worth of do you know rokunen hozonsi?
What's that?
So it's water. It's crazy. I'm being shaped by the algorithm.
Oh, no.
It's water that lasts for 6 years. So it like you buy it for prepping for earthquakes. Yeah, I'm like we might run out of water, so I did that today.
I mean, it's good. It's good preparation. You never
it's crazy.
know.
It's crazy. Okay, maybe we can take a quick break.
Yeah.
So there was something in, I sent you that pre-interview survey, and one of the topics you mentioned was performative reading. And so I'm going to play a song about performative people. So it's a song called Pomeranian by Forager. They're like a Brooklyn-based trio. And the song is, I wrote this. The song is a cheeky, shape-shifting pop fever dream that pokes fun at the insidious disease that's plagued many spaces, performativity and empty posturing. It's easy these days to curate a cool artistic and or intellectual facade by consuming the right set of signifiers. And I think reading has become a really wonderful way for people to like signify they're cool. Like how many Sally Rooney books do you have on your feed or your carousel? Have you read Dolly, what's that? Dolly Alderton?
Yeah.
There's like a set of at least book talk, intellectual, girly, or if you want to signify like, like Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Sylvia Plath core, then it's like Sylvia Plath and Joan Didion and Eve Babbitt's. And there's like a set,
like performative masculinity, like Jacob Elordi wannabes, and they hold the books that you read, like Frankenstein. And
You got your matcha latte and then the tote bag and a book.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, are you reading bell hooks? And before we play the song though, like I'm curious, as a bookshop owner, what are your thoughts on performative reading?
I mean,
Like,
honestly,
if people are reading, is that cool? Is that fine? Like, are we gonna get? Should we critique it?
no. At least you're holding a book, At least you know what a book is. Eventually, you'll read a line. That'll provide value than not reading anything. But yeah, I don't think we should judge people what they're reading or how much they're reading or whether they're actually reading the book. Just as long as you're around books, even like just being around books is fine for me. Like that brings a lot of value to people's lives too. So I don't really care for people who judge other people for how much they read, what they're reading, if they think it's performative or not.
That's a really balanced take, and I feel gently called in for my judgmental.
Also, it's okay if you judge people for performatively reading.
I guess my qualm with it is like with performative reading, there are certain books that get privileged, right? And certain books, it's a really particular type of book that makes it to the performative reading list, or it's not even performative reading, but a great example. I love Sally Rooney. I'm currently reading Intermezzo, and but I waited for so long to read her books because I didn't want to be perceived as jumping on the bandwagon of like reading Rooney's books.
Yeah.
And so I have this tendency, and maybe this is reverse performative of, I'm like, I read niche books. Wow, maybe I'm the problem, y'all. But I really had to hold off on it because I wanted to read books that weren't showing up as like cultural symbols. Because it is a lot of like white authors, a lot of like white women.
Yeah.
And there's so many books out there that don't quite make it to the Pinterest boards of younger readers, maybe. But you're right. No. If you're reading, you're reading.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because with these book talk books, there's a reason why they've become so popular.
Right.
And there is cultural value in that. But you shouldn't think that that makes those certain books more valuable than other books.
Right.
So if you want to join the bandwagon, join the bandwagon. If not, then just wait a couple years and pick up the book from a book off or something.
Right, yeah. I've been, Mercari has been, that's where I got all of my Sally Rooney books because it's been a few years since the books have come out. But no, I think it is like social media is doing a really interesting thing for the book world and even for writers. If you, for example, there's like the Reese Witherspoon's book club, right?
Yeah.
Like that's become a really important tool to put for writers. If you make it on her book club, you're good, you're set. Yeah. Or you have Dua Lipa's podcast.
Yeah,
like
her book club.
Right, her
Service
book club.
95.
Yeah. Then there's another artist called No Name. She also has a book club that I believe specifically caters to like Black and POC writers. But there's these like celebrity figures, particularly in the West, that are starting to become really influential in the success of books, but also social media presence. And like you have things like Substack, and like there's so many factors that are going into what books are read and what books get pushed. Both by publishers, but also I think by the algorithm. But the algorithms. I don't know if it should be plural. Like I love reading and I love writing, and I've thought about writing like seriously, but then I'm like, like this is a wild, wild west out there. It's tricky. But I'm going to play a song about performativity, even though we support all readers. The fickle human supports all readers. Y'all, don't get me wrong. Oh, my God. I love people that read. Wait, one more thing. Like,
all lives matter.
one of my favorite Instagram accounts, there's two. Do you know the Instagram account Hot Dudes Reading?
No.
And Cool Girls Reading?
No.
They're Instagram accounts of like candid photos of the hot dude one is like hot men reading, and the cool girls one is cool girls reading. Highly recommend. They both have like 30K followers or something. What? But when I saw the Hot Dudes Reading Instagram account, I knew I was being hypocritical because it worked. Like when I see my boyfriend reading a book, I'm like, damn. It could be upside down. I don't care. There's something about holding a book. Just makes everyone a little sexier. Okay, without further ado, here's Pomeranian by Forager.
There's rubbish on the sidewalk, nothing any good. Molly said she found an old clock in the neighborhood. There's a mural on the blacktop. She said it wasn't any good. It's cruel optimism, and I don't know, but I should. Everybody else's palette is getting more refined. Turning up the nose at the grocery store wide. Did you hate it? Making days with all that free time. You're a rocker, window shopper, and I'm behind. You've got the right touch of vintage, a layer of grit. But I kinda think that you're full of shit. A touch of vintage and nothing to say. A Pomeranian chasing its tail. You've got the right touch of vintage, a layer of grit. But I kinda think that you're full of shit. A touch of vintage and nothing to say. A Pomeranian getting its way. Ask me where I got it. From eBay in Japan. I hate consumerism, leave the boxes with the doorman. You said you had a vision of living off the land. I see you on the grid in a tractor with a suntan. Everybody else's palette is getting more refined. Turning up the nose at the grocery store wide. Did you hate it? Making days with all that free time. You're a rocker, window shopper, and I'll be. You've got the right touch of vintage, a layer of grit. But I kinda think that you're full of shit. A touch of vintage and nothing to say. A Pomeranian chasing its tail. You got the right touch of vintage, the layer of grit. Oh, but I kinda think that you're full of shit. A touch of vintage and nothing to say. A Pomeranian getting its way. A Pomeranian getting its way.
Okay. That's the song.
Honestly, I didn't listen to any of it. I'll listen to it when I get back home and listen to the lyrics properly.
It's a pretty funky song. I watched the NPR Tiny Desk version of it the other day, and I was obsessed. And it made me wish that I could play an instrument. So we'll see. So we're getting to the tail end of the conversation. And earlier before the show, you shared a little interesting update to Featherheart. So you're trying to get brick and mortar, and you're in the midst of trying to make that happen.
Yeah.
And you're thinking of setting up, or you will set up crowdfunding for that, right?
I will set up a crowdfunding campaign for it, just to support it financially, and also to get a bit of community feedback and security to ensure that the community actually wants to have a permanent physical space in Tokyo. But yeah, we're going to be launching a crowdfunding campaign soon, so please keep checking our socials to see when it gets launched. But hopefully in the next few weeks that'll be live.
Oh my God, so soon. Okay,
Yeah.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. And what's your vision when, let's say all goes to plan, you've got your brick and mortar space. What are some of the things you hope to expand? Like, what ways do you hope to expand Featherheart with a physical space?
There's so many fun ideas that I have. Just first of all, celebrating all of the holidays, the book-related holidays,
Yes.
and decorating the space.
I feel like you would be such a good decorator,
I love decorating.
right? You go all out.
Yeah.
Like Halloween.
Yeah. It makes a difference.
It
The little
does.
things make a difference.
It does.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid, and I went to school on a U.S. military base for elementary school, and we'd have the Scholastic book fairs. Oh my
those were the
God.
best.
Oh,
Those were the best.
I want them to bring that back for grown-ups.
Yeah.
But-
oh my God.
You know-
Should we do that?
I feel like, because the excitement, you get that booklet and you tick it, and I would always tick so many books, and my parents are like, we're over budget. This is in US dollars. We're paying in Japanese yen. But that would be really cool.
Yeah. No. Oh my God.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm gonna add that to the list. But the first thing that we're gonna do is to make sure that we set up a library subscription service
Okay, what is that?
so that you can not only buy new books, but you can just borrow them at a fraction of a cost. That was the main.
That's huge.
That contributes to our goal of making English language books more accessible financially for
Because
people
it's
here.
so expensive.
It's so expensive, and I know that we have a lot of university students that follow us, and even people who earn in Japanese yen. It's just 3,000 yen for one book is sort of crazy.
I was in there's a certain bookstore in Shinjuku that starts with a K, and I went to buy a book there, and I bought 3 books. Cost me 13,000 yen.
Yeah, not surprised.
That can get me on a Shinkansen to see my grandparents in Sendai.
Yeah. Why did you spend? I don't want to make you feel guilty.
Sorry,
for buying books.
Oba-chan. I spent the Shinkansen money on books about like affairs.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my guilty pleasure genre,
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
It's definitely my guilty pleasure genre.
But yeah, that's our main goal in opening a bookstore, and just to become a permanent presence in the community. Having a physical space that you can always rely on and to go to, I think is incredibly important. And I'm always looking at bookshops overseas, like You and Me in New York. They have a quote unquote like safe space in the back of their bookshop, so that unhoused people or people who are, I think they have a lot of like transgender people who haven't been accepted by their family, to just have a safe space to hang out in.
Yeah.
I think that's something wonderful that I don't know if we can emulate here, but we'll try our best to do as much as possible for the community. And yeah, we just have lots of ideas, even having a what do you call it, a book, what's it called, a book, oh my god, vending machine,
Yeah.
having things like that.
Yes.
So we have lots of ideas of how
Yeah.
we want to expand once we have a physical store. So yeah, I'm gonna keep some of them a secret because
Yes.
it's gonna be special
Surprise us.
Yeah.
I volunteer to arubaito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At a bookstore.
Yes. It's been my dream
Really?
to work at a bookstore.
Oh.
You know, I think there's something very romantic about the experience
Yeah.
and helping people find books.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's definitely a bit of the performative element perhaps, but
Yeah.
that's life is a performance, you know.
Yeah.
So crowd fund starting soon. You're taking a little break from events.
Yep.
Will you be back with events in the near future?
Yeah, of course. I mean, World Book Day is around the corner. Well, the second one. Apparently, there are 2 World Book Days. And then we'll continue to do our reading parties each month.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
You were there for the first
In
one, right?
Jinbocho.
Yeah.
It felt very fitting that you did it at Jinbocho, right? The neighborhood of books.
Yeah. It was very lovely. And the fact that you're surrounded by books was really nice too. So, but yeah, we brought it outside yesterday, and it was really nice too.
Oh, it's perfect.
But yeah, we hope to continue to do that. And yeah,
Amazing. Thank you so much, Minami.
thank you.
I'm so glad that you were the first person on the show.
It's a pleasure.
It's an honor.
It's an honor. Yeah,
It's an honor
to
having you.
Be the first person on your radio show.
It's an honor having you be the first person on the radio show.
Stop it.
Because books, so corny, but it's been a very important part of my life. And I was so excited when I found Featherheart. And my friend, actually, at the end of last year, she bought one of the secret
Oh, blind dates?
date ones for me and another friend from you. And the book she chose was absolutely perfect.
Really?
And it was Wilderness by Aisha Chavez.
Okay,
Yeah, and
oh, that's a good one.
oh my God, I was, first of all, amazing selection, but second of all, I don't know how she figured out that I would want to, because she didn't know what book it was,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
I was on a bit of a motherhood kick, and it was a perfect book. But that, even receiving that gift and figuring out it was from you, you know, your bookstore was like, oh, there's such a need for more from you, and I'm so excited to see what happens. Yeah, and maybe we can have you back when the brick and mortar opens one day.
Yay,
Yeah.
for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening. So I'll have this memorized in a few tapings, but that was the first dispatch from the Fickle Human Radio. To everyone listening, would love to hear what stayed with you, what moved you, what made you feel restless, what made you feel a little fickle. I didn't get into why I call it the Fickle Human Radio, which I maybe should have in the beginning, but that'll be a conversation for another day. Yeah, reach out if you have ideas of other people you think I should bring on the show. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Room 303. Y'all are awesome. Ciao.